Now for 146, we want to find sine to the fourth of x, cosine to the fourth of x. Well, if you remember from number 145, this was the answer we got for sine squared x, cosine squared x. So we know that sine squared x, cosine squared x is equal to 1/8 times 1 minus cosine 4x. So we're going to use that to our advantage. So we know that sine to the fourth x, cosine to the fourth x could be written sine squared x, cosine squared x times sine squared x, cosine squared x. And this both equal that. So we're going to replace those with that identity that we proved earlier. So we have 1/8 times 1 minus cosine 4x, that's this one, times 1/8 times 1 minus cosine 4x. So I'll combine the eighths first. We have 1/64, 1 minus cosine 4x times 1 minus cosine 4x. Now we need to do some simplifying, and we're going to FOIL that out. So we have 1/64 times 1 is 1, minus cosine 4x, minus cosine 4x, so that means minus 2 cosine 4x. And then cosine 4x times cosine 4x, negative and negative times makes a positive, makes cosine squared 4x. Okay, so we have a new power, and we have to replace this. So we're going to carry everything else down. And we're going to replace this with its power identity. So a squared means it's going to be a cosine squared, so it's 1 plus cosine, twice whatever's in there, 8x over 2. Now, in order to simplify this, I'm going to make all of these over 2, so I can just make one big fraction here. Or, well, I guess actually we can just distribute the 1/64 in, and that might make it easier. So we'll have 1/64 times 1 is 1/64, minus 2 over 1/64 is 1/32 cosine 4x, plus 1/64, that's going to be 1 over 128 times 1 plus cosine 8x, because I have 1/64 times this 1/2 here, so that goes in front of that. So we have 1/64 minus 1/32 cosine 4x plus 1/28 plus 1/128 cosine 8x. And these two can combine. So this is 2 over 128, because 1 over 64 is the same as 2 over 128. So if I combine those, we get 3 over 128, 3 1/28 minus 1/32 times cosine 4x plus 1/128 times cosine of 8x.